He's Mike Mayock of the NFL Network. Right, Mike?
I beg to differ, but thank you.
Your biggest whiff was?
Easily Blaine Gabbert.
No, you weren't alone.
Bad one, right?
Yeah, you weren't alone.
You know what, though? You learn lessons, Dan. And the lesson I learned there was when I first watched his tape, I kind of wrote him up as I thought his eyes came down in the pocket. I didn't think he was very comfortable in the pocket, blah, 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 blah. And the more we got into the process, and you could see how beautifully he threw the ball, big, strong guy, pretty smart kid. Go to the pro day, everybody's all fired up about the way he threw the ball, and you talk yourself into, wow, when he gets to this next level, he can develop this instead of just trusting your eyes and what you saw on the tape. And it kind of taught me a lesson.
If you go back to the 2011 draft, you got the number one pick. Let's say you're starting your team. So you got Cam Newton and J.J. Watt and A.J. Green, Patrick Peterson, Julio Jones. Who would you take number one, knowing what you know now?
I mean, that's a hard one because I think J.J. Watt might be the best player in football. But Cam Newton's a franchise quarterback, and that typically trumps all. So you're telling me right today, if I could start a team, who would I take?
Yeah.
Already knowing all that's in the bank?
You're taking Cam Newton, aren't you?
I might. It would either be Watt or Newton for me. Yeah, one of the two.
But we have this going on now with Jameis. I don't think Jameis Winston's the best player in the draft. But Tampa feels like, all right, we have to have our quarterback, so let's take Jameis Winston. If you ran the Buccaneers and you got the number one pick, Mike, who are you taking?
Personally, I would take Marcus Mariota.
Okay, so you want a quarterback, so you're taking a quarterback no matter what.
It's a fascinating conversation, and I've had it with a bunch of people, and it's really a catch-22. And if you go back 10 years, which I did recently, and looked at how many quarterbacks went in the first round, I believe there were 27 first-round quarterbacks. And of the 27, you could only make a case for 12 of them, even being starters, consistent starters. 12 out of 27 in the first round. So it shows you that NFL teams go overboard over drafting potential first-round quarterbacks because the theory is if you don't have a, quote, franchise quarterback, no matter how good the rest of your team is, you can't get to the Super Bowl. So I think we make more mistakes in this league by reaching for quarterbacks than we do at any other position.
Well, I look at the Titans as well, Mike. If I know Amari Cooper is going to be a Pro Bowl wide receiver, if he's the next A.J. Green, let's say, I don't know about Mariota. I have questions about him. At number two, I can't whiff. And why wouldn't you take the guy you know is going to be a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver?
Yeah, it's the other part of the catch-22. It's, you believe in Leonard Williams, you believe in Amari Cooper, you believe in all those guys. And if I was in their building right now, I'd be hoping I loved Zach Mettenberger because it would allow me to go out and get a much safer pick that I know could help me tomorrow as opposed to 2 years down the road potentially. So theoretically, I hear you, but there is a pervasive thought throughout the NFL that if you don't have that guy, and you don't always get a chance to go get that guy based on where you're drafting. So when you do, you better do all your homework on the quarterback and go get him.
The guy who will go too high in the draft, the guy who will go too low?
Well, we get a lot of wild cards this year with all the off-the-field stuff. So we don't know what's going to happen with Shane Ray, Randy Gregory, Dorial Green Beckham. The guy that's sliding a little bit, and he's a really good football player, is Landon Collins, the safety from Alabama, mostly because it's a pass-first league, and there's a perception that he's more of a run-first guy. But he's going to be a good football player in the league.
Do you care if a guy tests positive for marijuana?
I don't care philosophically. I do care if he ends up in your three-step program and you start to lose games and suspensions.
Can you make any correlation between that you get popped right before the combine if you're Randy Gregory, or Shane Ray, you get caught speeding the week of the draft? I don't care if you smoke. I just care if you get caught, right before something that says, hey, you're being stupid here or whatever, arrogant, whatever it might be. That's what bothers me about those two guys is it's draft week and it's the combine, and that's when you get popped.
And you know what? Again, my first thought when I read everything about Shane Ray the other day was just, hey, he wasn't even smoking this stuff. He had it in the car. How big a deal is it? And then the more you think it through, you're going, wait a minute, it's the biggest week of his life.
Yeah, it cost himself a couple $1 million.
And you're making this kind of decision today. What's going to happen after I draft you and give you a bunch of money? What kind of decisions are you going to make going forward to help me win a Super Bowl? That would make me very nervous. He's
Mike Mayock of the NFL Network. Mike unveils his first and only mock draft of the year tonight on the NFL Network. What's wrong with you? You only got one mock draft, Mike?
Dude, the funny thing is, years ago, I was stubborn about it. I was just like, no, these mock drafts are stupid. They don't mean anything until right before the draft. I'm only doing one. And they used to argue with me about it every year. And now they've turned it into a big deal, like once a year, and we're going to turn it into an hour show.
Yeah, it's programming. It's content.
Nuts.
I would like to have, because I'd rather read a mock draft on what teams should do. Because it's hard to project what you think the teams are going to do, but what they should do, I think, is where you get an honest opinion. So you're saying if you're Tampa, they're going to go Winston. I would go Mariota. I find that more interesting if you just say this is what I think they're going to do instead of this is what they should do.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point, and I think in this mock draft tonight that I do, I try to inject some of that. Just, hey, here's what the needs are. This is what they could go here, but this is where I think they're going to go.
I love me some Leonard Williams, but I keep hearing he doesn't have a position. The UCLA game didn't do him any favors, but I don't know. I just I like him an awful lot. I don't know if is he a top 5 pick? Going to be a top 5 pick?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's a top 5 pick, and I think that he doesn't have a position thing is the negative half. The positive half is his versatility. I mean, you can move him up and down the line of scrimmage anywhere, and in today's defensive age of scheme versatility, sub-packages, and individual components, he can do them all.
Give me the guy, though, that we're going to talk about 5 years from now. In a good way or a bad way?
I think Dante Fowler's a guy we're going to talk about a lot like a Khalil Mack. I feel that strongly about Dante Fowler from Florida in a very good way. As far as in a bad way, it just kind of, for me, it keeps going back to all these character guys. What's going to happen to them? Ray Gregory, Dan, is just such an unbelievably intriguing conversation. And I feel like somebody almost has to pull the trigger in the first round, but there's about 5 strikes against this kid at this point. It's unbelievable.
I know. Somebody's going to – it's called a value pick. They're going to get a value pick. When you take somebody with baggage late, that's a value pick there. Any new cliches tonight that will be unveiled or tomorrow night with the draft?
Any new cliches?
Yeah, like high motor, waist bender, bad feet, coach's son, gym rat, faster than, deceptively fast, those kind of things.
How I would characterize you is you've got twitchy lips.
That's what Lady Gaga told me. You got twitchy, fast twitching lips is what she told me.
Okay, even better.
Well, get ready though. All right, you got a pregame meal. You got to be ready to go tomorrow night. I mean, this is big stuff here. Pace yourself. All right. You got to hydrate. How long is the run from the set to the bathroom, though, Mike?
2 consecutive breaks.
Oh boy! Now, do you have a police escort to get you there?
I don't know what we have. We're in Chicago now, so I had New York kind of down to a T, and everybody, I could get through the crowd real quickly and get there. I'm not sure what the escape route's going to be here in Chicago.
Why not wear a suit like the NASCAR drivers do? Would you be willing to do like a stadium pal, something that allowed you to just sit and go through the first? Mel Kiper's able to do it. I don't know why you couldn't.
Well, I mean, Mel's a man now. I mean, kidding me? Mel invented this business.
How about a sports catheter?
Oh my God! Can we joint venture that? I'm in.
All right, I'll get the app and then you can download it. Have fun with your mock draft tonight, Mike, and we'll be watching. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, Mike Mayock, NFL Network.